The Helldivers 2 community is at war with itself. I've seen many posts with people pointing fingers at each other and blaming other fellow players for the current state of Helldivers 2. And the question the community is asking, is this community tribalism ruining the game? And we will be discussing it for today's topic. Glazedivers versus Whinedivers. Now, I think I wanted to start the conversation with what defines a Glazediver and what defines a Whinediver.
All right, which one of us do you want to speak first?
You explain what a Whinediver is, and then Gundam explains what he thinks a Glazediver is.
That's the harder one, dude.
I know.
I have to think a little bit.
It's too hard.
I think the most extreme version of it is somebody who wants the game to be like Call of Duty, and they don't want to play the game until there's a Nicki Minaj concert or something. I can't say their name.
So, like, Whinedivers are people who, like, want the immersion to be broken?
In my opinion, yeah. Like, somebody who wants to play a different game, but they don't understand that Helldivers is not that game. They will always find something to complain about because, I mean, I guess that's a simpler version. They're the people that will complain about everything, even if it's a good thing. Like, there were some people complaining that Xbox was getting Helldivers.
Yeah, I remember that.
So those would be what I consider Whinedivers.
Which, if you're still upset on a console joining the crossplay scene, you are old and you got to get over the console wars.
I feel like the console wars is like a definitive what Glazediver is. Like, that's what
it's like, congratulations, you're a corporate shill now. You love everything they do. It's just like, I just use their console because I want to play a game. It's like, it's gonna be that simple.
And then, do any of you guys want to add to, like, what a Whinediver means?
I felt like the way people, like, interpret, like, wine diving, at least from what I've seen on my end of it, is, like, think of something like the Rupture Strain, which were, for the Warriors specifically, which, at its core, was broken. It could hit you no matter where you were hiding. It could outrun you. You couldn't... There was just not a lot of ways to mess with it or kill it, without using the meta stuff and, like, explosive weapons, purifier, whatever. And people were complaining it came off as, like, wine diving people.
Yeah.
An enemy that is actually broken. Being able to, like, warp step faster than I think you could dodge.
Yeah.
So,
especially when you're the host, right? Like, it was something that you would, like, experience more as the host. You could sorta outrun them if you weren't the host, but it was a guarantee you're gonna get hit. So people would consider that, oh, you're just crying because it didn't happen to me.
So to be clear, you're not a wine diver. It's just people were calling you a wine diver because you had a bad experience and you let people know about that.
And that's that's the whole point of this video, by the way, is because I've seen this, like, cultural shift in the game where people are calling each other Glazedivers and Whinedivers for reasons that don't make a lot of sense to me. And, like, that is a good example because it's like the Rupture Strain genuinely was pretty bad, and there were a ton of players who were like, finally a hard, challenging sub-faction in the game that actually makes us think differently. And then there's a whole group of people who are like, this isn't fair. What's fair about a stim tax, basically, right? And those people got accused of being Whinedivers, and then the people were saying, like, oh no, you're just having a skill issue. Like, I'm not experiencing those problems. Those people were then called Glazedivers.
Now, with that particular issue, the people who were calling the people Whinedivers, we're closer to what a Glazediver, in my opinion, actually is. We didn't actually say what we thought a Glazediver.
No, not yet. Not yet. And in fact, I wanted to end this section just so that we can stay on topic with what I think a Whinediver is. I've been reflecting on this for a while because I've just been kind of watching the community unravel at this point. I think Whinediver means basically you're, like, critiquing the game, but your critique itself is not constructive, or that you're whining about a feature that was added or something that you are basically arguing against its core design. So, like, saying, like, the stalwart should be like a primary, or it should be medium pen or something, like, I guess the best way to explain it is like some of the stuff that makes Helldivers, like all of the reload mechanics and the way it feels kind of grounded and immersed in somewhat in reality, and you want those removed, like you want COD reloading and you want slide canceling and stuff like that. I think that is what makes you a wine diver, or like you're crying unreasonably much.
I haven't seen too much of people wanting things like that on my end. Have you actually gotten comments like that?
No, I have not. I actually don't think...
Early on, I saw people upset that you couldn't jump as a Helldiver.
Yeah. Jump pack.
Or,
sorry.
that you would die really fast, or you couldn't see the health of the enemy as you were shooting it or something. Right,
Okay.
like other features that are like in jump space right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of features in jump space.
Yeah, but you think people
that's
would
a different
understand that's jump space. It's not
Yeah.
Helldivers.
So like, yeah, when I see it, it's that people like to make it absolutely 100% clear. A wine diver is somebody who will complain about the game regardless of improvements.
Now, I think it's a good place to move on unless you guys have any more things to add. So, Glazediver. Gundam, I want to start with you first. What do you think a Glazediver is?
Well, see, I didn't really look too far into it when I first heard the phrase, so I thought people were talking about, like, gooners. I was like, what do you mean there's, like, you guys glazing the gun? That's like, ew. We talk about busting a nut on all this shit. And later on, I just assumed it was, like, glazing over the fact or something, but eventually you find out, like, some people use it in the way to, like, make it seem like you're too positive about a weapon or so, or you're over exaggerating something. You're over glazing the weapon or something like that, which was a weird term because you'd think that it would be like to glaze over something, not what people try to make it mean or how they try to use it and stuff. So it's in the same thing as like, say Arrowhead does a shitty update. Say they make the Hive Guard's armor level 5, right?
Yeah.
And if you defended that, right? You'd be considered a Glazediver because now you're glazing over the fact of it being broken. That's what I was under the... That's my current impression of it. I did ask like someone like Odo because he's the guy who coined the term, right?
Yeah.
And he says it's someone who goes through like his personal definition is something about people who go like on a long-winded track to try and defend something.
Oh
yeah.
Right? And it also
almost like they gaslight themselves into thinking it was a good change or something.
It's in the same sense as like I love mechs, but they suck ammo wise, right? Because they run out. You can't reload them,
and they're super flimsy.
Like, they're the greatest thing. They're so tanky. That's me glazing it because they're not those things. or I'm not trying to find a weird workaround to explain why it's like that.
No, yeah.
It's just built to be an expendable vehicle. It's all it is.
A great example from early history of Helldivers that would really signify if somebody was a Glazediver, in my opinion, would be the PSN issue.
Yes.
There was people that were just like, come on, guys, you have all the, you do this for other games. You have a Ubisoft Connect, you have a EA account or whatever. You can have a PSN account. Just stop whining.
Yeah, stop whining. Let the corporation walk all over you.
Like corporate bootlicker level of glaze diving. Right?
Yeah, it's like the mentality of like, not my big billion-dollar corporation Sony getting hurt by other people online. It's like I gotta go defend them. It's like they can do that themselves. Like stop it.
It's weird when people decide to white knight for a company like that.
Yeah,
it's just. They don't care. They want your money.
There was the ultimate glazers. After the PSN thing was reversed, there was like, I would say these are the ultimate glazers. The people who got mad at Sony for giving into the PC player base, I saw this on Twitter, like they said stuff like, you're gonna let them walk all over you now, like you give them an inch, they take a mile, stuff like that. Or obviously more unhinged because it's Twitter. But like still, it was that energy of like, why would you let them do this? Now you're gonna let them boss you around and do whatever you want. You should have never released your exclusives to PC. Those are people I think are definitely Glazedivers, where they're like mad that they're not using what's fundamentally anti-consumer practices.
Another thing I still don't understand for people, because it's not like it's their like, well, what even is the point of being angry that another console gains access or that they do a certain thing? It's just, I don't know. It's a weird
I
thing
have friends
take
that
on
can
at all.
only play on PC, and then I also have friends that can only play on Xbox. So it just means more people for me to play with. Either you are a lonely person and only have yourself to play with, or you're only friends with purists, which I doubt.
Yeah.
I just think like if you're hating on the other consoles, I think it's a good sign to step outside, because there's a lot of other things you should be hating in the world than just what the other guy's playing on.
Yeah.
You know?
So
if Helldivers went to goddamn Google Stadia, I could give less of a rat's ass as long as they were good.
I think those are all really great definitions. So this is kind of the meat of the discussion here now. There is a problem in the Helldivers 2 community, and I kind of brushed on this a little bit earlier. The problem I'm seeing is that people are using these terms, Glazediver and Whinediver, to attack certain people, and I just feel like that their arguments are very, very flawed. And it's all over the community. You can see it on Reddit and Discord. There are people fighting with these words just everywhere.
When you just start like using like a term, if you're trying to have a discussion or even an argument about it, I think it kind of shows where that person's at if they just start name calling you, because it doesn't matter if it's Glazediver or they call you a slur. I think at the end of the day, they're really just mad. They're just upset now, and they want to be mad, and they want to call you a name to try and make you feel I don't know rattle you up, fuck you up with that guy's argument, but it doesn't add anything to the conversation. It just kind of shows how immature they actually are. Even if they try to do the big phrasing words and think they know, from what I've seen with the people who I've argued with in the comments, they don't know that much. They really don't.
Yeah.
No, yeah. One example that I can think of recently was Red made a short about the AMR, and
that it could one-shot Hulks.
Came and people in the comments said, "Stop gaslighting yourself. It always could." So then I responded to them, I was like, "Dude, I know that you're lying because I actually played the game." And then they responded to me like, "Oh, well, you can't blame me because I haven't played the game since the PSN issue."
That guy is an egghead. It's people like that who they just want to say something dumb, dude. They're not thinking, obviously.
No,
Right.
Something I want to make clear, though, I think the problem is on a community-wide scale.
Yes.
Because with the community, there's no civil discussion. There's a lot of people that are using this to basically end the conversation. Because that's what they're being used as, is a mic drop moment or something. It's kind of like a Who Asked, where it just shuts down any constructive conversation that could have began or whatever. And so the problem that I see is that people on Reddit or the Discord, or not really those areas, because I think most of those, I guess they'll use Crydiver and stuff, right? But the Glazediver is actually just banned, so they can't even use that. But it's basically used to say, "Oh, your argument's actually irrelevant because you are this." They characterize the person arguing rather than the argument, and so therefore it becomes a barrage of insults instead of a discussion.
People love tribalism, and any chance they get to put someone on the other side, they hate them, they'll do anything at any cost to just have someone in that corner so that they can hate. It's just
it's so stupid dumb. Though this is a video game.
It is a video game. So when I make my videos and I make some of my stuff like that, I made the AMR video and I was talking about it. And even though I was talking about the AMR feels weird when it aims, and I showed proof for it, someone will still in the comments go this guy was like, "It's not a Helldivers video if they aren't complaining about one of the best guns in the game being terrible because it turned a little slow and didn't one-tap everything in sight." It's that is not what I said in my video. You're just being an angry little boy now.
Yeah, it's a bug.
You didn't even watch the video. I can tell.
Yeah.
It's just
or just went over their head.
You could be upset about a bad change, but I think if you're sitting there rocking in your chair Arrowhead spited me. Oh, that's when you're Toxodiver. They don't know you. They don't really care about you as an individual. That's not what Arrowhead's doing, and that's
something I noticed with Toxadiver.
Any gaming company.
So something I noticed with Toxadiver, like he's usually your straw man, right? But Toxadiver is both a wine diver and a glaze diver.
It's like that these guys aren't actually the opposite of a coin, right? Opposite of the coin. They're the same side, or it's a U-shaped graph, like a horseshoe bend, right? Where the furthest point is going to be the same result.
You also have to imagine that the way Arrow, like, they low-key have something like with like an identity crisis for what they try to do with the game, and it almost feels like there's multiple heads working on the game and tugging it in different directions. So you know what I mean?
Yes.
Since they have different designers.
That is something I want to bring up too. You reminded me something.
Well, yeah, they have tons of different designers working on the game. And there's a lot of changes that feel like they, I don't know, contradict each other sometimes. Like they made Fire pretty strong. And then Fire kind of, whatever, they adjusted Fire, and now people think it's trash, right?
Yeah.
There's just...
I think it's about the same.
They need... I think a personal problem that makes the community so anxious about Arrowhead is that they don't put their foot down, and not even just like put their foot down for the game. They don't put their foot down in the right direction either. Community trust is practically thin. And I think that's where a lot of this hate lets people spar up, because now you got people who are like, oh, they're trying, they're working on it, and they're like, they're killing the game, it's so over. You know, it's that kind of mentality that's forged from everybody not being too sure about what Arrowhead wants. Because think about like I don't know, think about like what GTA used to do, right? They said, fuck you, this is the game. Or Souls-like. Dark Souls, every Souls game I've played, it's the challenge is there, and it's up to you to match it. Helldivers has not been able to achieve that, and I think that lack of like an identity for the game gives people this little window to be confused, because now you have people like, it needs to be balanced this way, it needs to be balanced this way, but they're so secretive about it. They're so secretive.
Mojang just released like how they want to add
stuff. That was something I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
They printed out their entire document, what they have to think about before adding any additions to the game. Right, so balance, right? So basically the community has a whole folder now of like, okay, because of this folder, we know that it has to be in this kind of area, otherwise they won't add it into the game. So now when we give them suggestions of like, hey, we want to add this new mob or something, right? Then we know, well, if we try to add a new mob for Minecraft or whatever, they won't do this certain way or that certain way. So what Helldivers needs to do, in my opinion, when it comes to balance, is have a set direction of like, okay, this is what we want the game to feel like, and we want your primary to feel like, and then just stick with it. I am observing two problems, right? One is Arrowhead doesn't pick a lane. They just are doing whatever the community is saying, right? And the other problem that goes along with that is that there's two really big voices in the community that are opposite.
Yes.
Or perceived as opposite, right? One wants the game to be harder, and one wants the game to be easier, or primaries to feel better, right?
Yeah.
And so it appears like the only way to get the game harder from Arrowhead's perspective is to balance the primaries or the enemies, and like, it's so frustrating. I'm just like, just don't touch the enemies that exist anymore. And like, if we're going to do some balance changes, do something that is highly requested from the community.
My advice to Arrowhead is like, don't change something that nobody is complaining about. With the coyote, I did see complaints about the coyote. Now, I made a video about the coyote explaining why I didn't like the coyote, but my opinion was the exact opposite of everyone else's. I did not think that it should be nerfed, but I thought it was not a great weapon. Like, I was literally like, this gun actually kind of sucks. It just feels like the Liberator Penetrator, but slightly worse because it's harder to use. And sure, the fire is great and all. Like, if you just didn't have the fire as a part of it, it's a harder handling Liberator Penetrator. I'm like, that's not good. Like, the only thing good about it is genuinely the incendiary effect, and that was making it better than, like, hands down, every single other AR. But the craziest thing about this whole back and forth about who's a Glazediver and who's a Whinediver is people were calling me not a Whinediver, but a Glazediver. because I thought the coyote was a bad weapon.
So it doesn't seem like it correlates to anything. It's just
no,
they don't like you.
that's the thing.
I think that's what pushed us to make this
That's
video.
the thing. I think people who are using the term, and this is kind of why I'm making the video, they don't know what they're saying. A lot of these people saying the word glazediver and trying to use it, the majority of these people on YouTube are just rage baiters in the comments who are trying to get attention, and that's about it. What should either we do or Arrowhead do in this situation? Like,
I think that we address the problem, which is that the people using these words are shutting down discussions.
yes.
So the issue is that it's not an Arrowhead issue. It's a community issue. So the solution has to be effort from the community to shut down the shutdowns, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to be more open-minded myself, or I'm going to try to be less close-minded or something, or change my vocabulary or something, right? But if there was something that Arrowhead could do in this situation to kind of soften it, it would be to basically kind of ignore both people. you know, like, you know, we don't need to listen to somebody who's constantly calling people wine divers, or, you know, glaze divers for the opposite of that too. And this is also, and this is the other thing I also want to mention, because I don't want like certain creators to be like, oh, I coined that term, I label myself that or something.
Well, you can label yourself that. I label myself as glazediver sometimes, you know, because like that's what I get accused of being the most, and I find it extremely ironic because a lot of my content, especially when I was starting out my channel, has been very critical of Arrowhead Studios. I wanted to add one thing, and this is kind of how I see the whole situation. I just lost my train of thought. I'm not even joking.
Insert what?
What if I propose an idea as well?
Yeah.
Right. So the other thing that the Arrowhead should do is take, you know, a page out of Mojang's book, which is publish the balance philosophy. Right?
Yeah.
Like, let us know exactly what's going on so that we can critique more effectively, or that when we suggest changes, we can suggest them in a way that makes it more likely for it to be implemented into the game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The other thing about like the issue with the glazediver, wine diver stuff is that ultimately I don't think that problem's going away. Right?
No.
I think that the one solution is to just ignore it and just be like, okay, it's.
And like what we were brushing on earlier, a lot of these glazedivers were from the console wars too. That's decades old, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, these aren't, it's like a human psychological thing that's not going away. Like, this isn't unique to Helldivers. And glazediver, I mean, we talked about this earlier, but it's just another word for corporate bootlicker. Like, it's not a nice word, and it's not really constructive. And wine diver, I mean, you're telling someone they're whining that, oh, just get better at the game, just get good, just pick a different weapon that actually works, you know? And it's such a long and frustrating explanation. But yeah, anything else you guys want to add?
People just gotta grow up, man. I don't know what to tell you about the glaze diver shit.
Yeah.
It's just a childish thing to do. If that's your knee-jerk reaction, I mean, that one sucks to be a big baby.
I guess I should have mentioned this in a different section.
Yeah.
Part of the issue that I've seen too is particularly with people who are genuinely wine divers. Now, we did touch on this, but it's that they don't play the game, right?
Yes.
So like they're like, oh, I like you go on to a news video or something about Helldivers 2, and it's discussing something that is perceived fairly negatively by, I think, a large majority of the community, and there'll be people that are like the pinned top comment. They're like, oh, see, I left the game before it was cool to leave or something, right? I left from PSN and I still have not regretted it or whatever. And it's like,
nothing sadder than announcing your exit. Oh,
like,
I'm
we don't
leaving.
care.
Bye, everyone. All right.
Oh man, but yeah, that's like an issue. It's where like, well, it's that's unavoidable though. There's gonna be people that pride themselves for hating the video game no matter what because they're done playing it. Right.
Yeah.
And so they're just smug, and they want to come back and tell you every time that they told you so, right? And so
in fact, actually, you bring up a really important point that I wanted to brush on. It's kind of such a touchy subject because you want to be really sensitive around it, but some of the quote-unquote wine divers have made some really like offensive remarks towards the devs. Like, I remember back in the past of Helldivers, they were expressing, Arrowhead was saying that they were getting death threats, you know? And that's never okay, you know? And so if you're whining too much about the game where it's like you are considering saying stuff like that online, it's like that is a massive problem. In fact, I think it's worse. That's got to be worse than, you know, calling someone a glazediver. You know, like
no,
the situation
issue.
Yeah, so but
like you're bringing up an issue that's almost worthy of another episode, right?
That's true.
So like I don't a lot longer. Like,
but I don't want to. I don't want to dedicate a whole, like, not even a whole 5 minutes about this. I just wanted to point out that there is genuinely some stuff where it's like you push it enough, and it goes in a direction that is so demotivating. Almost any criticism is valid as long as you're saying it in the right way. But when your criticism is not constructive, like, at least in my opinion, they probably would like to spite you instead. Because, you know, you heard...
Tinfoil hat-ass conspiracy right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, from my perspective, Arrowhead wants the game to succeed more than anybody.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's their income. Huh?
Yeah.
Like let's just use, like, logic for a second. Like, the moment they stop selling war bonds and they stop, like, getting a consistent player base, Sony is gonna come pull the plug. Right?
Yeah.
And their little miracle's going to be over, right? And they're just going to be back to being a kind of mediocre indie studio, right?
Yep.
So, like, I don't think they want to be in that position. I think they, out of everybody, wants to be in the position the least, right? Like, I think there's some glazedivers where they legitimately want that to happen, so that they're playing a game that is very, very niche. I think some people really,
it's more of a private club.
Yeah. I think there's one extra part I would like to add, though.
Yeah.
So, moving forward, right? What's the plan for this channel, and what's the plan for discussion? Like, what's like the motivation why we created this?
So, is that a question to me?
No.
No. Yeah,
it's my channel, obviously.
It's oh man, that's such a like what answer.
Okay.
It pretty much was.
Yeah. Okay. Dude, things go over my head.
Lock in, dude. Lock in. You're a content creator.
I know, man.
I hope that Arrowhead does like a big interview for like the content creators in the CNN. You just go, what? And it like skips you.
It's like, hey, Red, what's your question? What? All right. It's like that scene in Cars 2 where there's somebody who's on call with the news reporter, and then they're like, hello, anyone there? Yes, you're on air. Hello? Yes, you're on air. Hello? Okay, hang up. Okay, now we're going to Radiator Springs.
Yeah.
I freaking love Cars 2.
Dude, I like that movie. It's got the spy stuff and car mutilation. Anyway, so to answer that question, the purpose of this channel is to kind of just reinforce constructive criticism, or like we're supposed to discuss different perspectives. So I would like to see this channel go forward in the future to feature people like Commissar Kai, maybe even Thick Fillet. I've already done stuff with him, and so I would love to talk more with people of the community, and especially about certain topics and certain themes. So like today we're talking about Glazediver versus Whinediver. You know, like that's a pretty hot topic right now, you know? Like the whole point is I'm trying to kind of bring the discussion to a more civil level. Like, don't be afraid to say something to my face, right? We could talk about all kinds of stuff. It's just an open discussion.
Too, because I kind of co-own this a little bit.
Yeah.
Is one of the perspectives that we have for making this channel is to open discussion. We want you guys, the audience, to respond, to share your opinion, but we want to see the perspectives, right? We want to showcase multiple perspectives.
Well, thanks. That's all the time we have. So that's our discussion with Glazediver versus Whinediver. If you guys want to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe. It helps a ton, and it means a lot.